Welcome to Star Expose. If you love celebrity news and real entertainment updates, you're in the right place. Even the brightest smiles can hide the deepest secrets. On live television, where everything is meant to be polished, cheerful, and under control, sometimes just one tremor in the voice, one brief pause, can reveal a lifetime of pain. That's exactly what happened when Kelly Ripa, a name synonymous with charm, confidence, and laughter, let her guard down on live TV. Before millions of viewers, she shared something so deeply personal that it left her husband, Mark Consuelos, visibly shaken and in tears. In a single, unscripted moment, television turned from entertainment into something far more human, raw, emotional, and unforgettable. But how did we get here? To understand the weight of Kelly's revelation, we first need to go back to where it all began. Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos first crossed paths in 1995 on the set of All My Children. Their chemistry was instant, undeniable. What began as an on-screen romance soon turned into a real-life love story. Within a year, they eloped to Las Vegas, stealing their love in a way that was as spontaneous as it was heartfelt. Over the decades, they built a family, a career, and a life that millions admired. 3 children, countless shows, and a partnership that seemed unbreakable. On screen, they were playful, witty, and perfectly in sync. Off screen, they navigated the highs and lows of Hollywood while remaining refreshingly authentic. For years, audiences tuned into Live with Kelly and Mark to see not just 2 co-hosts, but 2 people genuinely in love, laughing, teasing, and supporting each other through everything. But even the most seamless partnerships have layers unseen by the public eye. In the weeks leading up to Kelly's emotional confession, something seemed different. Fans noticed subtle changes, a pause that lingered too long, a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes, moments of distraction during normally lighthearted banter. Producers behind the scenes reportedly noticed it too, a shift in tone, an unspoken heaviness hanging in the air. Then one morning, the moment arrived. Kelly began the show with her usual brightness, greeting the audience with warmth, joking with Mark, sharing stories like she always did. But soon, her tone softened. Her hands trembled slightly as she asked for a brief moment to speak from the heart. The studio grew silent. Cameras focused in. Even Mark, sitting just inches away, sensed something different. Then she spoke. Her voice cracked at first, but steadied as she began to reveal a secret she had carried for years, a confession that stunned everyone in the room. It wasn't scripted, it wasn't rehearsed, it was real. Kelly opened up about a hidden pain, something that had shaped her for decades, a part of her past that she had buried deeply out of fear and guilt. It was something she had never shared with anyone, not even her husband. As she spoke, the room grew still. You could hear the emotion in her voice, the trembling between words, the weight of memories finally surfacing after years of silence. Mark sat frozen, his eyes locked on hers. And then, as she continued, the tears came. He tried to compose himself, but he couldn't. Watching his wife reveal her truth, her hurt, her vulnerability was overwhelming. In that moment, television stopped being performance. It became confession. Kelly described moments of loss, of shame, of questioning her worth, the kind of emotional wounds that never truly disappear, only hide behind laughter and success. She spoke about living with a quiet fear, about doubting whether she deserved the happiness she had found. Her words were filled with both pain and liberation, as if by speaking them aloud, she could finally let them go. It was impossible not to feel it. Mark reached out and held her hand, visibly shaking. His tears weren't for the cameras. They were for the woman he'd loved for nearly 30 decades, finally showing him the side of her heart that no one else had seen. For a couple so used to laughter, this was new territory. It wasn't about jokes or stories anymore. It was about truth. And it left everyone watching breathless. After the confession, the studio audience sat in stunned silence. Some were crying, others simply watched in awe. When Kelly finished, there was no applause, only the kind of respectful quiet that fills a room when something sacred has just happened. Mark whispered something softly to her, words that viewers couldn't fully hear, and in that private exchange, you could see the depth of their love. This wasn't just a host revealing a story, it was a woman reclaiming a part of herself. Behind the cameras, producers and crew were visibly emotional. Many had worked with Kelly for years and had never seen her so vulnerable. It was a reminder that even those who seem to have it all, the fame, the love, the success, carry hidden battles. As soon as the episode ended, the world reacted. Clips of the emotional moment spread across social media. Viewers from around the world flooded the internet with support, sharing their own stories, their own confessions, their own pain. Hashtags trended, articles were written, experts discussed the power of vulnerability on live television. And through it all, one thing became clear. People weren't just watching Kelly and Mark anymore. They were connecting with them. Kelly's courage had started a conversation far bigger than herself. It reminded everyone that no amount of fame or perfection shields us from human pain. It reminded us that even the strongest people sometimes need to break.
Tears that day became a symbol of empathy. A husband not afraid to feel, to hurt, and to stand beside his wife as she faced her truth. For fans, it deepened their admiration for both of them. It showed that love isn't just about laughter and good times. It's about standing together through the hardest moments. And for Kelly, that day marked a turning point. By finally bringing her secret into the light, she transformed what once was a source of shame into a moment of strength. In the days that followed, Kelly and Mark remained quiet about the details. They didn't seek attention or interviews. Instead, they continued hosting their show, more grounded, more connected, and somehow more real than ever. Their on-air chemistry subtly changed, not in a bad way, but in a way that felt deeper. Their conversations had more warmth, their glances more understanding. The audience could feel it too, that something had shifted. Kelly's confession wasn't just a moment in television history, it was a mirror for anyone who has ever hidden pain behind a smile, who has ever been afraid to speak, or who has ever doubted their own worth. In the world of celebrity, where everything is rehearsed and controlled, this moment of raw truth stood out like a light in the dark. It reminded us that vulnerability is not weakness, it's courage. And perhaps that's what makes Kelly and Mark so beloved. They let us see the messy parts, the laughter, the tears, the imperfections that make them human. For the viewers who tuned in that day, it wasn't just about gossip or entertainment. It was about witnessing the beauty of truth, even when it hurts. Kelly Ripa's words that morning changed something, not just for her and Mark, but for everyone watching. It reminded us that every person we see on screen has a story we don't know, that even the brightest personalities can carry darkness, and that when we dare to face our truth, we give others permission to do the same. And maybe that's why this moment will be remembered, not as scandal, but as strength. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply be honest. So as the lights dimmed and the credits rolled that day, one thing became clear. We hadn't just watched another morning talk show. We had witnessed humanity in its purest form. Kelly and Mark reminded the world that love isn't about perfection. It's about understanding, forgiveness, and standing together even when the world is watching. And as the story continues, their moment of truth lives on, a powerful reminder that behind every smile there is a story, and behind every confession there is a heart ready to heal. If this story moved you, stay with Star Expose, where we uncover the moments that show what's truly real behind the spotlight. Because sometimes the most unforgettable stories are the ones that remind us we're all human. Thanks for watching Star Expose. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next big story.